Hey everyone, welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm Bill.
And I'm Nick.
And we like to wait for Bill and Nick to decide who's going to go first in saying their name.
This is every week, every single week.
I was trying to signal. I was like, okay, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Shake it off.
That was like when you play chicken and like you would like throw something up in the air and you like wait to like listen it to run. That's what it felt like. And just like me watching you guys just sit there.
I gambled or I lost. What can I say? Tried to roll the dice, but just crapped out. No problem.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're three friends who like to watch horror movies together. We're also joined by our audio engineer, Skippy Midnight. He's here. He's doing the edits. He's posting the podcast, and they are all available on Anchor, on Spotify, on Apple Music, everywhere you could imagine a podcast being. It is there.
Awesome.
Please check out Anchor, the sponsor for the podcast. They are amazing. They are a great app.
Yep.
Thank you, of course, to Sam, which, little spoiler, Sam of Remnant Music will be on the next podcast.
What?
We pulled them, boys.
We pulled them. Oh my gosh. This is... I never realized we got this big this fast. Wow. That's awesome.
Honestly, I am so excited for him to be on and to talk about the what we're going to be talking about on the podcast.
Nice cover up.
I watched talk about what we talk about.
Yes, please talk about on this podcast. Okay, continue. What are you saying? Sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
I was just I'm so excited to talk like with him, like, and for us, all of us to talk with him because he watches horror movies with us. So like he's watched a lot of the same ones that we've watched. So I'm excited to get his perspective on everything that we talked about. And of course, I can't forget to thank Nick for composing our intro theme. It is fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you, Nick.
all right.
Oh.
We got a big episode ahead of us.
Yeah, we should just
We got
get
a
right
lot
in.
to talk about. We are going to get right into it. We've been hyping it up. This has been in the works for months.
Yeah.
It is the Found Footage podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I've been
So
so
much
excited to talk about this. I mean,
Big time.
I want to start this off with one word from both of you. When you think of found footage, when someone says, let's watch this found footage movie, what is the first thought that goes into your head?
First thought, first word.
First word.
First thought, first word. We'll start
Okay,
with
when
Nick.
they say, yeah, let's start with Nick. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. No matter what, I will always think paranormal activity first, and maybe not even maybe more than the movie. I will just think paranormal activity, the concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
What about you, Bill?
What about you, Bill?
Can you repeat the question? I really want to like imagine that somebody does it.
So,
I want
So if someone came up to you, if I was like, Bill,
yes.
there's this great found footage movie that I found and I want to watch it with you. Do you want
First
to watch
word.
it? And like what would,
First word that
Mhm.
comes to my head. Pain.
yeah.
Yes. Because I think as will explain. Like, I'm sure there is a lot of very not good found footage movies out there. And,
Mhm.
and there are good ones, but holy crap,
Mhm.
I feel like it's a genre that a lot of people have some very divisive thoughts about. So it'll be interesting to talk with you guys about that.
See, my word would be shaky. Both the fact that like the found footage genre isn't, always the best. There's some bangers, there's some bad ones, but also the fact that the camera goes like this half of the time.
The shaky cam, I love it.
Yeah.
And for those who are only listening audibly, I literally just shook my hands all over the place because, oh my god, some of these movies, they just move the camera. They're like, you know what's scary? if we just shake the camera everywhere so no one can know what is happening.
Usually accompanied by the. Yeah.
Just wait till we talk
Can you
about
do that again? You do that again, and I'll shake my camera as you do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Just wait.
That was
just
very
wait.
accurate.
My Blair Witch
Thank you.
fan project. Just wait till that. Just wait till we get to
Oh
that
yeah.
podcast. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Are we gonna at some point be like fact or fiction from the last broadcast and go to New Jersey to find the Jersey Devil?
Okay. The Jersey Devil is cool as shit. There's no
It
way
is.
they're gonna let Jersey Devil's cool.
The Jersey Devil is very cool. I agree.
Literally like such an old cryptid. If you believe in that stuff, like, you know. I don't know. It's like it's so cool. I love it.
So all right, we're going into found footage, and I'm just gonna read like a little paragraph from Wikipedia about what they define as found footage. So
Okay.
found footage is a film subgenre in which all or a substantial part of the work is presented as if it were discovered film or video recordings. The events on screen are typically seen through the camera of one or more of the characters involved, often accompanied by their real-time off-camera commentary. For added realism, the cinematography may be done by the actors themselves as they perform, and shaky camera work and naturalistic acting are routinely employed. The footage may be presented as if it were raw and complete, or as if it had been edited into a narrative by those who found it.
Wow, that is a very good definition.
Yeah, Wikipedia had a very good definition.
Well done, Wikipedia.
But there's not much more to add to it. They really covered all bases. I mean,
That's the essence of it. Yeah.
just starting right off the bat, I think the thing that I love about found footage is how they try to have a sense of realism within it.
Yeah, I feel like horror movies are so prone to not be realistic.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of refreshing. But I will say it's one of those things that's sort of a double-edged sword because like some of the suspension of disbelief you start to lose with found footage that you normally would have with other horror movies. We can get into that later, but you know.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where every subgenre of horror has its pros and cons, has its preconceived notions.
Totally.
And that's one of them for found footage. So, do we want to just jump right in and start talking about some movies?
Can't wait. Seriously.
Yeah.
So, let's just start it off right off the bat so we could get it over with. Often regarded as the first found footage film, Cannibal Holocaust, which came out in 1980 and was directed by Ruggero Deodato.
Ooh, yeah.
I forgot we were starting with this thing.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, I actually didn't watch this movie because I refused to watch it because of how Deodato dealt with his actors and actresses, how he dealt with animals, how hypocritical he is. But honestly, let's skip that and let's just talk about the found footage elements of it. So you guys, I'm pushing it off to you.
Yeah.
This is all yours. All I will say is that they use 16mm camera.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Deodato is actually a personal hero of mine, Ryan. So
Oh no!
I couldn't.
Oh no!
Yeah, I would ask to be. Yeah. If I ever say that, you'll know I've been like fucking pod people like replaced. I will never say that because that movie is beyond its merit as like the first found footage movie and sort of being successful in blending the idea of there is a movie and then there is found footage within the movie. It's a museum piece. You know, it's not meant to be like enjoyed in the way that you typically enjoy film. It's like yeah, I don't know. I don't. I'm struggling to come up with an equation like something to equate it to. But like I did not enjoy the film, but I enjoyed being like, oh, this was like the first time found footage was employed, and it was done successfully for the movie it was trying to be. Sorry, I'll beat around the bush. It's a fucking like gore fest, and it's really gross.
Yeah.
It's really gross. Like it's a very gross movie. Just in this treatment of people and its treatment of like things. But God, yeah. I don't know if you want to add. If you have anything more bad or good to say.
Yeah, yeah. To me, Cannibal Holocaust. I don't. If Cannibal Holocaust wasn't considered the first found footage, I don't think it would be considered found footage. I don't think it doesn't really meet the criteria as much to the denotation from Wikipedia, honestly. It is a movie about footage that was found, but it's also an analysis of that footage rather than the audience experiencing just that footage and deciding for themselves how they want to analyze it. It's obscene. It's an obscene movie that does so much wrong, and that like idea of realism within a movie is taken advantage of way too much in Cannibal Holocaust, and I think because it was so new, because the found footage was this new original idea, they didn't realize how watching that kind of found footage film makes it more realistic.
Yeah,
you go in it with realistic observations, and that disbelief is shrunken, like Bill just said, and it really made it worse. Yeah, it made it more horrifying to watch, and more grotesque and gruesome and unethical. It made the unethicality of it even worse.
And people thought it was real. Like people actually thought that it happened.
Yeah.
I know that the actors and actresses had contracts to like stay out of the public eye and not be in movies for like a year after it.
Oh, that's such bullshit. That is fucking so cheap. Okay, yeah, I just want to say that's so cheap. They did the same shit with Blair Witch, kind of, but we'll get to that in a bit. But no, my thing, it's totally like an exploitation film. It's exploited to the audience. It like exploits your like perceptions. I don't know. It's like a trauma film, but like I really don't want to watch it, and I don't like trauma films. I really don't want to watch this piece of shit.
It's funny because it's an anti-exploitation film that uses exploitation within it.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very
absolutely
very hypocritical, the movie.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys. The message of the film is that yellow journalism is bad. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
According to Diodato, in case, Diodato is on record saying that is what the message of the film was. He was a hypocrite, and it's got such mixed reviews because of its grotesqueness. To sum up, I think Cannibal Holocaust showed the world that found footage can have a real effect, a genuine effect on audiences, unlike other supernatural aspects of horror.
I think that's a very good way to sum it up. I mean, if you feel like you want to add anything, Bill, but I think that's perfect.
I think that's perfect, yeah.
So, before we move on from it, I have on my whiteboard 2 separate lists. I have goods and I have bads. Do you think this movie deserved to be in the goods, or do you think it deserves to be in the bads?
Yeah, no-brainer there.
Good thing we can't split the vote.
Yeah, so
I think it's pretty.
So
obvious.
I'm writing it in the goods. Yeah, it is.
Damn.
It is in the bads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
sure.
For everyone to know, we watched a collection of found footage in preparation for this episode. we didn't watch every found footage because that would just be simply
Too
impossible.
long.
Even just horror found footage, which is what we're focusing on today, there's too many of them. And so we got a collection of a few that we thought were talking points, that are important parts in the timeline of found footage.
Yeah, and also, thank you, Nick. This is the perfect explain that we decided to kind of split it up into 3 separate periods. So we decided to do 3 older ones. We put 4 middle ones, but that's because we have one that's like an iffy that we're going to talk about, and then we have 3 newer, like 2010s ones that we're going to be talking
like
about.
Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom. I didn't even realize we were doing that. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
So yeah, that was our first. So how about this? Do you want to? I know we said before maybe go into order, but do we want to go one at a time? One oldie, then go to one middle, then go to one new, then go back to an oldie.
That's fun.
Or do you want to go just
I think
timeline?
I don't know. I'll let Nick weigh in. I kind of like the idea of going in order, but I also like the idea of the middle, like going middle lead. You know, that could be interesting.
Let's stick with the timeline. This way, we can show what we want to focus on is how found footage has evolved and how they've all impacted each other. How they successfully impact the next.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are going to be continually referencing.
Yeah, each movie.
We'll be referencing them throughout. But the focus will at least be in order. But we will draw from.
Yeah,
we can draw from the rest.
So let's do that then, and we're on to our next movie. Bill, I know you're excited for this one.
Oh,
we are up to the Blair Witch Project, which came out in 1997, and it uses
first one that everybody saw, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna say the cameras at 16 film and HI8 video cameras. So
interesting.
To put that into perspective, very old cameras.
For 1997.
Yeah.
Okay. My thing, like, this is the first one that everybody saw, right? Like, this is like the first one. Okay.
For people who don't know Cannibal Holocaust, they automatically assume that Blair Witch was the first one to do it. But that's also because Blair Witch became a lot more popular, gained a lot of popularity, a lot more factors went into it.
Right. I guess I'll say my biggest thing with Blair Witch, I don't think it succeeds for me. Maybe like you guys can like be like the yin to my yang, but like for me it doesn't succeed in a lot of areas that I look for in a good film. I think that it was a very effective piece of entertainment for the time. Of course, there was the whole thing where, you know, it was sort of like, I don't think they signed any contracts to be like, you cannot be seen, but there was the whole like famous missing, and then there was like the 3 people in the film, and that was posted all over like film festivals and shit, which is like borderline like what you should be doing, you know. But this is fun in a way. Might be a killjoy. I don't know. It's just for me, like, I don't know. There's like certain respect that you have to have in like a film that's supposed to be like taken seriously. And well, I'm sure we'll get into it more, but like there is a lot that was not respected in this film, I think. But okay.
Perhaps, we've talked about Blair Witch in a previous episode, so I won't go so much into my opinion. My opinion is more positive than Bill's, quite a bit more positive. It's one of my favorites up there. But I know the both of you disagree.
Holy shit!
See, it's funny because for me, on middle ground, we have our little
All right, I'll be giving Ryan to vote bad.
With all that said, I personally think the advertising was very effective, and the problem is it can never be done again because Blair Witch already did it. But it was going to state itself as the first found footage. It wasn't stated. It didn't acclaim to be the first found footage, but for it to become like the first found footage, I think it was a really effective and unique way to build awareness for it and kind of introduce the found footage genre. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like imagine introducing the concept of a zombie movie. You'd have to, be a zombie movie before the context of zombies existed. How do you do that? And I think Blair Witch does a very interesting job with that I wish could be like utilized more, but it obviously couldn't be. It wouldn't be as effective.
Well,
and I think it was a great introduction to found footage for people.
Here's my question for the two of you. Could Blair Witch be a non-found footage horror film? Or would it be as good in the thing? Now that's kind of a big thought experiment. That's kind of like a lot of factors to consider. My personal thought with it is, while I don't think it is enhanced or unenhanced by it, I don't think it does anything revolutionary with a relatively new way of filming, especially like, horror films at that time. I just don't think that the scares and the creepiness of it relied on it being a found footage film. I think it was creepy in its own right. That's like they're getting stalked in the woods, and they slowly realize that they are trapped, and they slowly realize that they're being like almost manipulated against each other, maybe against their own will. But I don't think Paranormal Activity needed to be a found footage horror movie.
Yes,
I don't think that Blair Witch did.
I think that's fair. But I think I agree with that. That it could be. You'd have the same shots. Obviously they wouldn't be. They would be a better quality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess so. I guess it could be a movie given the time period and what it had been up to it in the horror genre.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess it could be.
In my thoughts,
yes,
I have a lot of respect for the Blair Witch Project and for what it did.
Mm-hmm.
It tried to be different. It was effectively different. And I would have to say that the movie probably loses a lot of charm if it isn't found footage. I think you would have a better quality of movie if you filmed it differently. But I think it loses the charm that it had in the first place if you do that. So, and I think they were trying to go for that realism of like, you could be in the woods to, something you don't know, something that, as kids, when we were in the woods and it's get dark, we all were like, oh my God, we all felt that before. Yeah. That's what that movie was going for. Mm-hmm. I think if you make it like a regular film, you kind of lose that authentic feel to it. So
I will.
Yeah.
I agree, but I will also say, like, this is my personal opinion, and maybe it's because like I've lived around the woods the entire my entire life. I do not think that Blair Witch is that scary a movie. Mm-hmm. I do not think it's that scary. I think it is best when like the shot I always remember, like the things I always remember are the imagery of like the things in the woods. But there is that one time there's I'm trying to remember, it's been a little while since the scene where they keep going over the same creek.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you remember this? And they realize like they realize that they've gone over the same creek 3 times. And I remember like they see that it's the same creek again, and they just start. That's an effective scene. That's great. But I don't think, and it's not because we don't see the Blair Witch. It's not because we don't see it. For me, it's a little too amalgamous. And if it had a bigger thing of you shouldn't fuck with things you don't understand, or you shouldn't go into the woods, like some disrespect of the land, some disrespect of sanctity, it would work a lot more for me. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, we've talked a lot about that in our past episodes. I think I'll say this: the director of one of the movies we're going to be talking about, the director was directly inspired by the Blair Witch Project and labels it as a masterpiece of found footage.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is it one of the ones? Is it one of the ones I like? Can you tell me the director?
Yeah.
I just kind of knew that. I didn't. Yeah.
I will tell you what the whole quote is later on, but he also mentions he imagines Psycho and Carrie also had influences on his movie as well. But he does say masterpiece, Exhibit A, Blair Witch Project for his inspiration. So I feel like with that alone, it had already it's inspired so much, and I feel like whatever the answer is or whatever the opinion is to whether it's a movie or a found footage film or not, whether it should be different, like we've been talking about, I feel like regardless of any of that, it had a direct influence on the found footage genre. And that's undeniable, I think.
For sure.
So I think this is the perfect time to cast our votes. Do you think it deserves to be in the goods or the bads? Bill, we're going to start with you.
All right, yeah, easy. Influential, extremely. Good movie, not so much. Not a horror movie, but I will not be coming back. I will not be. If I was seeing it back in 1997, I would watch it once. I'd be like, oh, okay. It was okay.
What about you, Nick? Where are you voting it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say good. I feel like we're gonna put this in the middle.
Yeah,
that's just what's gonna happen.
I did tell you that it won't. There will be no middle, and I do have my opinion putting it.
Okay, it's good. I think it's good because just on its influence alone, its influence without being unethical.
What? It is very unethical. Okay, I don't want to.
Well, okay, that's fair.
They were put. Yeah, they were put in situations. I don't think it's like the worst thing they've ever done. I just think they were trying for naturalistic acting and had no idea how else to get it. I don't blame them for that too much. But.
Yeah, and it's that naturalistic observation that we should, we should talk more of, because that is something that a found footage needs, like the Wikipedia definition said. And I really think it makes or breaks some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan, what do you think?
To let you know, for the reveal, I have put it in the goods column.
Alright, well,
Hey.
okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, like nobody can deny its influence. Nobody can deny it.
So for me, the reason I decided to put in the goods was, as you know, I'm a very middle ground about this movie. Mm-hmm. And for me, what puts it in the goods is there is, although it's not the best in specific places, I think it is a film that deserves to be watched by people, and you can't deny how influential that it would become towards the genre.
Sure.
So for that alone, I felt like I had to put in goods, although I don't think it should be rated as highly as people say that it should be.
Okay.
So that's why I put it in the goods. So on to our next movie. I'm already writing it into because it's no debate where it's going to go. But, we're up to the last broadcast.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm taking the rest of the movies down.
So the last broadcast.
For our listeners who don't know, go Brian. Yeah, you can. I don't know.
I'm sure.
I love you guys. I would really like to start this one because let's just start off. It was directed by David Lee, and sorry, it wasn't directed by David Lee. It was directed. I wrote this one in the wrong order. That's why I set up. It was directed by Lance Wheeler and Stefan Avalos. And they used digital cameras, and to edit the movie, they used a 166 megahertz PC. So I would just like to say about this movie, like I said about the Blair Witch, I honestly have a lot of respect for this movie and for what it tried to do. It was made off of $900, and
Shit.
For
I
that,
did not know
alone,
that.
I have a lot of respect for it. So I posted a review for it, and I told you guys there's a part of the review I don't want you to podcast. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Do you remember when I texted you guys saying that I finally watched it? Like, I watched the last broadcast. All I had was Be My Cat. So what I didn't tell you was that originally I was watching it with my friend Austin Michael. And, you know, I watch a lot of horror movies over there with his family. And we only made it to 20 minutes, and I was like, you have to turn it off. And we actually turned off the movie and watched Intruders instead.
Why? Interesting.
Because, first off, I felt very bad because his parents were not for it at all. They were very...
Oh, you're watching it with his...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, that, first off the bat, that. But second off, I had a very long day at work. I was like, man, I'm really excited to watch a movie for the podcast. And oh my god, this movie is so boring. It is so...
Yeah.
Yup.
I literally almost fell asleep about 10 times in the first 20 minutes.
Shit.
One of the... I literally say in my review, it is the cringiest acting I have ever seen in my life. There's porn with better acting than this movie.
Yes. Yes.
Just
and then
the
you edited
beginning.
in...
With thank you.
Yeah.
I'm at the beach.
You guys should go check out. Go check out Ryan's review on his YouTube channel of this movie. It was pretty entertaining.
That's Flash Forward Reviews
It's G-rated.
YouTube channel. But literally the opening scene where he's like, yeah, there was a murder, and they blamed this guy named Jim Seward. He was there. He was a psychic, and we have his phone call so you can listen to what he said. And that's literally the beginning. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, I wanted to talk about that before we actually start talking about the found footage of this movie. So once I finally decided to watch it in its entirety and see the worst plot twist of all time,
Yeah.
the found footage elements of this movie are very bad. They are the worst quality that you could possibly imagine. And then, like, one shot will be, like, decent. And then they'll flip to another one. It's the worst quality again. And terrible acting, terrible shots. The scene that automatically comes to mind is when they first meet the psychic. And there's, like, the flame on him. He's like, oh! And, like, the camera's, like, moving everywhere. And oh, my God. It is not good. It is not a good movie. And one last thing to mention.
Sorry, go.
Sorry. My fault. One last thing, and I'll let you guys talk. Is that this movie's concept was, and filming started 5 months before the Blair Witch. So.
Oh wow! Yeah, technically.
Important point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also one last thing. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. Which is something we'll be discussing. So, Bill, with that, I will let you spread your wings. And
well, my thing is that you won't. I didn't like the Blair Witch Project, so how could I like this film? I will say, this film literally like not to like shit on it too hard, but it literally does make the Blair Witch look like a masterpiece. It literally does look like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So, like if I could watch this film once or watch Blair Witch 5 times, it's actually tough. Okay, I kind of backed myself. but I was definitely watching the Blair Witch 3 times because it's
okay.
I will say it is very, very poorly acted. $900. what do you really expect, I guess? Like, everybody's kind of like an amateur thing. It was pretty commercially successful, I think. I don't know if we have the numbers for that, but I know like everybody was like, I think it was the first movie to be like almost like exploitative of the found footage genre. Like, oh yes, everybody, you love found footage, right? Well, come see this shit, and then it's like horrible, and then it's like horrible. But yeah, I will say, boring, bad acted, twist that everybody sees coming, and of course, extreme disrespect to the Jersey Devil,
Facts.
which will not be tolerated. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, so I think I've watched it before, both of you. I watched it quite a few months ago. With my friend Dylan. Shout out to you, Dylan. You're a fan.
Did you see what I did?
What did you do? What did you do?
So you went, well, I didn't know, but I told you guys I watched this 4 months ago. I went.
Big fan.
Yeah, sorry.
A weird
Not to
flex, but
brag,
okay.
It had been on my personal list for a while, and it was actually recommended by an adult. And an adult, I say that as we are, as if we're not adults. Anyway.
Names. Who recommended the movie? All right, now it's okay.
Anyway, no, yeah, it was pretty bad. We were my friend Dylan and I, who hopefully maybe he'll be on this podcast someday. We
Big ups.
Yeah.
Big ups.
We didn't like it. We were very upset of just like how bad it was, and we think if it was any longer, we probably would have shut it off. But it's only 86 minutes, and I feel like there was a point at which we paused the movie halfway through, and we were like, "Oh, we're halfway done. Okay, we can do it." Like it was like, "Oh, there's only 40 minutes left. All right, we can watch another 40 minutes."
Do you know what moment we paused? That was like, you have to stop.
What
With the
moment?
prison door. It just kept on shutting. And they replay it like 4 times.
Yeah.
It's like, and they found the one guy dead. Boom.
Yes.
And Jim Seward was blamed. Boom.
It's kind of a shitpost. Yeah, no, it really sucks.
Yeah.
I have tears coming out of my eyes.
It didn't have much of it. I think the only influence it might have had is like it showed that found footage doesn't have to have a big budget.
Oh, that's wholesome. That's nice.
Yes. That was gonna be that found footage can be super shit.
Yeah. It also showed that found footage can be super shit if you're not real about it. It just didn't seem real. The stuff, it was the poor graphics, the bad acting. It's that naturalistic acting, again, that needs to happen that the last broadcast did not. I felt like I was watching a high school student film, and they thought they were so cool that they were making it, and it spreads and becomes super popular for about 3 days in the school.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I honestly think that our horror movie that we made with Skippy and Brianna would be a better movie than the last broadcast.
Yes, I think so.
1,000%.
I suggest go watch that too. It was just called Horror Movie, I think, right?
That's cool.
Wait, no, our horror movie was called Pure.
Oh, Pure, yes, yep.
Oh,
That
really?
was a really fun one.
It is.
If somebody came out with a movie called Horror Movie, I would really like to see that.
Goes out here
like Walmart brand like movie. Sorry, I have let the right one in here, and if it just said horror movie, I'd be like, holy shit!
It's a Shudder original.
Yeah,
Hot garbage. Can't wait to see this shit.
But,
that's funny.
all right, so we already know it's
that's
in the
a quick
bads.
move on.
Yeah,
It's
easy.
in the bads.
Bads. Okay.
Worst one so. Cannibal Holocaust is worse. But
Okay, well, Holocaust is probably the worst. Yeah.
yeah, it's probably the worst. Yeah.
I will say about Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
I will say about Cannibal Holocaust, it has a very good musical score that I did listen to.
Effective music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very
Kind
good.
of weird.
Yeah, the classical music.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Oh, no, not that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a
Yeah.
good like subversion to what the actual movie was going to be. It's like very happy sound.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just like death, rape, child. But okay, we are on
Anyway,
to now our middle age,
Yes.
Egypt, and
We're gonna have improvement.
and I think we have improvement. So our first movie, and I think this kind of was the movie that started kind of a golden age in a way. Found footage. Paranormal Activity came out in 2007.
yeah. Mhm.
Directed by Oren Peli, and it uses a Sony HDR FX1 with Zeiss lenses.
Zeiss. Whoa.
So to put that into perspective, I'm gonna look it up right now, and we're gonna see how much it cost and stuff like that. So you guys could say your thoughts about what you think about it as I do that.
I don't have much more to say on Paranormal Activity. I talked a lot about Paranormal Activity in our childhood experiences episode, and it all rings true and very sentimental to me. The way that the trailers were filmed for that movie, I think, also revolutionized maybe the advertising for found footage films. Both the way that it was shot, the way that the post-release trailers, the audience's reaction were the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
They took away all the film of the movie, so it was very, very interesting and well done in that sense.
Mhm.
I also think, and I think this is just something that's come to mind right now. There's also in like the golden age of the show Ghost Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I love Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, and I was a
I love that.
big,
I love that shit.
big fan of Jason and Grant and Taps.
So good. So good.
And yeah, I think that was all happening at the same time, and it worked just effectively well. It brought like ghost movies to a new light, and showed that things could be done supernaturally, and also appear, on camera.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great way of describing it, because I remember that movie came out, and then YouTube had its like kind of burst very like maybe a year or two after, and then you saw like the top 10 scariest ghosts caught on camera and stuff like that start to creep out. This film is very, very influential to both the rise in popularity of supernatural films, as well as the rise to start using found footage. Because I feel like this is the movie like, oh, found footage could be good.
Really good. Yeah.
And to put into perspective, the camera nowadays on Amazon sells for $624.
Wow. So you can literally make your own Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
I'm coming over, Ryan. Okay. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna doubt how influential the movie is. I guess my thing, yeah, like, I'll say, I feel like it was the first horror movie that I like wanted to see as a kid, but I couldn't because like it was like, no, you're not watching that, so like it was like the first movie that I was like, oh, this is so cool, like and of course like when you're like when I forget what year was it again?
2007.
2007. Like you're like 9. You still have that like, oh shit, this is real. Like,
great year of horror. Great year of horror.
Oh yes.
Great year of horror.
Yeah.
Renaissance, really.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is that it's very influential. Does it have staying power as a film in my mind?
That's a good question.
When I think of good supernatural horror movies, I think of The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
I think of like just movies that maybe just weren't so encapsulated. I can tell you one thing: the Paranormal Activity series did not have staying power.
Yes.
I think the first reason, yeah, Brian can talk about that all day. The first one is good. for me. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I continue to like it. I think a lot of horror movies like lose a lot of charm after like the first like few watches and stuff. Very exceptional few are still like good so far on. You almost have to forget when shit's coming. But yeah, I remember when I first saw it, it like scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I'll that's good enough for me. Yeah,
I think from all that we've said alone, the found footage is done very well. How they had the different cameras, the camera set up in the bedroom, how he would record the day. I think it's done very well, and I put in the goods column. I feel like there's not going to be a debate with this one, so I automatically put it down.
Yeah.
So
okay,
like you said, like the start of all of it.
Yeah. So we are on to probably my favorite movie. It's definitely my favorite movie on the list. We are on to Wreck. So Wreck, 2007.
Bad movie right away. Bad movie category.
All right, off the podcast. Tina, there's an open spot.
Yeah, we're good.
So it was directed by Paco Plaza and João Balaguero, and it uses a Panasonic Pro AG HVX200 and an adapter for night vision. And I looked it up before we started, and it was $1,000 nowadays on Amazon. So I'm going to start with talking about Wreck because it is a fan-freaking-tastic movie, and it does, I feel, almost everything that a found footage film should do. To start off, when we automatically think of found footage, like I said before, you think of the shaky camera moving literally everywhere. Blair Witch, you have that a lot of the time. Last Broadcast is stupid. Cannibal Holocaust showed quite a bit of it, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like from like the trailers and stuff like that, because like I said, screw watching that movie. And Paranormal Activity doesn't really do shaky camera because it's set up, so it doesn't have that until the end. But of course, we know why. At the end, it becomes a little shaky.
Right,
But Wreck, they had a professional cameraman work it, and he was a character in the movie as a newscaster, so it makes sense to why his character would be filming, and he knows how to do it. During the movie, when he's running, of course it's going to shake a little bit. It's impossible for it to be perfectly still. But it's enough shaky to be like, okay, he's running and he's nervous, but not enough like, oh, I'm going to fling my camera everywhere in every direction because I'm running like this. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
So first off, they do that perfectly. Second, they show everything when it should be shown. And kind of by that, I mean, if they needed like a specific shot, they would zoom in. They would do like fun little stuff with the camera to use it to its best advantage. By that, the scene when they're trying to spy on the fireman after he fell, and when they're spying on the police officer, and how they're getting the injection from the guy, like the health inspector, and how they're not supposed to be in the room, and he hides. You can see him. He climbs up, and you see him zoom in, see him zoom out. Fun thing. Yeah. They have the camera light. They have that as like they make the camera very important within the movie, and I love that focus to the camera, and I think that's its greatest strength as a found footage. And they even added night vision. I mean, that is so much fun. It was. And just as a fun little trivia note fun thing, so let me find it, because there was a specific thing about the night vision that I read. Where was it? Oh shoot! Oh, please tell me. Well, before I say what it is, two little fun facts. So Paco Plaza, one of the directors, reportedly had Chinese neighbors that never closed their door, and that it always intrigued him. So
okay,
that's a fun fact.
Okay, please, I'm walking that away because Continue.
And
I mean,
another
not
one-
the Paco likes Chinese people. We'll get into that later. He was not very kind.
That's true. That's true. Oh my god.
Continue. Fuck.
So the next one is that the actors didn't know that Alex would fall to the ground. I remember when he's thrown off like the kind of like the stairs. The actors and stuff had
Big-
no idea.
Oh,
The big scare.
the
Yeah.
big
Well, the first big scare.
jump,
After the
big
cop
jump.
was bit.
Mhm.
So they had no idea that was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's fun. That's
And-
fun. That's fun.
Which, you know, I mean, so interesting point that you make there. It's an interesting piece of trivia because it procured naturalistic acting. Once again, going back to the Wikipedia definition, but it did it in an ethical way, unlike we saw in what we saw in Blair Witch, where the actors were, and Cannibal Holocaust, where the actors were sometimes just forced to go into something blindly and then kind of almost endanger themselves, you know, whether emotionally or physically. And it didn't, but this was harmless because it was all just it was a stage effect that nobody would get hurt, but it was still their reaction was filmed.
Yeah.
I think it's a really well done. It's careful with that, I think.
What do you think, Belle?
My big takeaway from this film, like Wreck is obviously awesome. My big takeaway from it is that like this, I feel like around this time the questions started to emerge, like, you know, why do found footage? Like why put your film in that format? And I think this movie answered a lot of those questions, because the thing that I really like about the film is that it has this amazing build-up. And it has this whole thing, just when you think relief is coming, you know, it gets flipped. And just when you think, like, you know, there's going to be like crazy things happen sort of when you expect them, but sort of when you don't. And like you said, Ryan, the camera is used in such a dynamic manner in this. Like, you know, it's like, oh, like, you know, turn that camera off, and he like holds it down, and like, you know, and then it's like, you know, up in like the thing, and like night vision on, and like, oh shit, like don't touch the camera, you know, like it's, you know, like it's like being flopped around and stuff. And, you know, a little bit like that in Blair Witch, a little bit of that in Blair Witch, a little bit of that in Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity, you know, not to like talk about that the whole thing. It's sort of like, oh, you have this stationary camera, and it's like you're almost helpless in that way. In that, like, it's like, oh, you're just a voyeur. You know, you're just seeing what's happening, and there's nothing you can do. And Wreck is sort of like that in the other way, except that it's like, oh shit, like, you know, like, yeah, I like Wreck. Like, you know, it's like, what the hell is, like, you know, like what are we gonna do? It's really such a bad situation. Like, if I was in that situation, like, I think the funniest thing, I don't think there's many faults in Wreck, other than the self-insert character for the director, I think, that really does not care for Chinese people. I do not. I like, you know, like, it's like, it's whatever. Like, you know, it's whatever his, like, you know, thing is. It's not a big deal. Like, you know, maybe it is a big deal. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
It's a bit of a. It's a little bit of a deal.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a.
But like. What were you gonna say? I was just gonna say, Ryan. He's actually
No, I was just gonna say I found the thing that I was trying to find, and the ending scene uses real night vision, as we know, and was actually recorded in darkness. Like, so the actors literally didn't see anything.
Wow, that's scary. Yeah.
And
wow, that's really scary.
To add to, like,
That's
all
scary
of that, like, you zoom in, camera, fun stuff. I think, and this is gonna be the same thing with, like, Mungo, with that specific cell phone shot when they're hiding because they hear the thing. and then like they hide, and like you see the camera, and then you see something in the background just go like come up, and then like you
Yeah.
see the thing hitting and swinging everything, and it's the same like, oh my god, what is that? What is that? What is that?
Like my thing is that like everybody was basically before that zombies, and like you're like, oh shit, that's scary, that's not good. They're scariest when they outnumber you, and when it's like in the dark and like you don't really know what the fuck you're doing. For some reason, when whatever that thing is, and I'm sure it's it's explained in other iterations of Rec or whatever, what the fuck that thing is. Yeah, maybe not. Whatever the fuck that thing is in the penthouse. That came there, and that was like a game changer for me. I was like, holy fuck, this movie is really fucking scary right now. I'm like seeing this, and then like it's all like fucking. I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? Like, I did not appreciate that. I mean, it was good in the movie. Oh, that was scary.
So I think we all agree that it deserves to be in the goods.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do want to,
and I would like to say,
oh no, you go first, Nick, because mine's different.
Okay. I think to sum up, while it also does everything good, in all the good aspects of found footage, I think it recovered the found footage genre after the last broadcast. After Cannibal Holocaust, it kind of brought back that foreign horror film that was also now using the modernized genre of found footage, and does it successfully. And I feel like it might have boosted the image of foreign horror films in America.
I think that, yeah, I agree. And it was influential in America because they tried to make it shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, so quickly, just running back to Paranormal Activity.
Sure.
Brianna has some thoughts on it.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Hi, Brianna.
And she says, oh my god, horrible movie. It sucked, acting was terrible and totally not believable. Ha.
I am literally shell-shocked.
Wow.
literally, my blood pressure just dropped like 50 bars or some shit. Yes. That's horrible. I never want to hear Brianna's opinion again.
Damn.
No, not that. Yeah, I mean, yes, and I mean, it's not the best acting movie ever.
Yeah. No,
I still like it.
No, yeah, it's not the best characters ever.
Yes,
the character.
Micah
Micah is probably the most disliked character of the series.
Terrible character.
Yeah.
Terrible character.
Yeah. It really sucks.
Really all right, yeah. Very quickly, like literally not going to take up more. Cloverfield.
Oh.
Yeah. So Cloverfield uses the same camera in Rec. Uses the same exact camera.
Really?
And it adds a Sony Cine Alta F23. Not a good movie. Does everything what everything we said Rec does right. Cloverfield does wrong.
Whoa. Slow your roll. Whoa. I do not agree at all. I think we might have to spend a little more time on this one.
Okay, we can spend a little more time.
I do not agree. I do not think it's like the greatest like found footage. Is Rec a superior movie? Absolutely. I think that it tried to do something with scale that found footage more is because like think about it. Like, Blair Witch, yeah, it's in like, the woods, but like does the woods really mean anything? When you're in the woods, you're in the woods,
right.
Right. And my thing is that like Rec takes place in a building.
Yeah.
And not that like, that's any fault for it, but I think that's what people felt comfortable with found footage, but sort of taking it on the move, I think that's a bolder choice than we realize. And that's a bolder choice than we realize. Yeah.
Like I respect it for what it tries to do and like how it tried to make it like this big, like scenes and stuff like that. I just think if we look at it based on the found footage elements of it, it is not comparable to Rec. As in, like, I was telling Nick before, it's like, oh my god, I see something. Camera just shakes for like a minute. and it's like, oh wait, that was a rat, and then oh my god, again, you know, and it feels like it keeps on happening. It felt like the same scares just kept on happening over and over again.
Yeah,
It's
I
my
mean-
god, what's that shaky camera?
Mhm.
it's a little harsh. I think it's a little harsh, but yeah, maybe.
So,
Maybe.
and it's
Is it-
apparently I told Nick a lot of people left because they were getting sick by it, like how much it moved.
Wow.
And I think
Interesting.
that's where it comes up with the,
Yeah.
the preconceived notion of found footage is just shaky camera everywhere. I think that's the film that really did that.
Maybe. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not so definitive. But
Mhm.
yeah. I know you're gonna put it in bad, yeah, but like I disagree. Yeah, strongly. Not strongly. I disagree, kind of. Yeah.
I am kind of in the middle here. Funny that it's kind of like Blair Witch.
Okay.
But flipped. I am in the middle. I think it's a good thriller movie, and I
Mhm.
agree about it. It did put found footage on a geographical scale for its context. But yeah, it is shaky. I think some of its faults are how shaky it is, and it's a very where Rec focuses on what's happening, and Rec focuses on the drama, even when even when the video camera is trying to be like hidden.
Mhm.
Cloverfield doesn't focus on the drama a lot. It focuses on the side effects of the drama rather than the actual monster going through New York City. But I will say it's got some powerful imagery.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
the Statue of Liberty head rolling around New York City was a powerful one that kind of resonated just with any audience member and any person who saw the cover of the DVD.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we'll put it on the list, but
So I've put it on the list. I as much as I said about it, I do think it deserves. I do think it deserves to be there.
oh,
I
Yes, we did.
don't think so. I mean, I hate to say it, I don't think many people would agree with you.
That
Yeah.
deserves to be in
I
goods.
mean, no, that it deserves to be
Oh
bad.
yeah.
I don't think that's a popular opinion.
I think it's more so the fact of like
yeah.
for me, although I don't think it's the greatest movie. It is so much better than Cannibal Holocaust in the last podcast, and it can't be compared.
Yeah.
yeah.
As
Yeah.
much as there's a lot of elements I really don't like in
Yeah.
Cloverfield, it does a lot of cool new things
Mhm.
and deserves to have its place in goods.
Yeah, I would. If there was any film that deserved to be in the middle, it's that. I would
Yeah.
argue way more than Blair,
Okay.
than even Blair Witch.
Yeah.
I hate
Mhm.
to say it. I think, yeah. Like I don't know. It's like my thing. Like I think it's bold to show. Like, but Blair Witch gets away with a lot because it doesn't show the monster. It doesn't show anything really.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which is scary. in its
Cloverfield
own right.
shows the monster.
Shows everything, and like and it's I mean it's a much like obviously a much bigger budget, much bigger thing kind of film. I will say, however, Clover. I think it's really funny that Cloverfield, which is like kind of like we're like I know we're debating back and forth about it, like it's like an alright film, spawned Cloverfield Lane. Which is
Oh,
not
I
a found-
really like 10 Cloverfield Lane. I really like.
which is not a found footage movie, but it's
Very
so good.
Yep.
It's
Yes.
so good. It's so
Very,
good.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
interesting.
that's an interesting aspect. I think Cloverfield might have shown that it might have proven that found footages don't have to be found footages.
Yeah.
If you
Mhm.
support your argument about Blair Witch, I think Cloverfield shows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
can live with it being in the bad. Oh, I'm gritting my teeth though.
oh no, I put it in the goods. I told.
Oh really?
Good.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's
Wait,
really good. Yeah.
Wait, it was oh no! I freaked out over nothing. Okay, sorry. I saw red. Okay, we're good. Woo! Okay.
Yeah, and I would just like to add a little fun story. I saw 10 Cloverfield. And in the beginning with the car crash, and then like it'll be like the sound of the car crash, and then just stop. Like all the sound would stop, and then be like 10 Cloverfield Lane, more crashes, directed by that.
Oh yeah.
So when I saw with Austin Michael, the car was crashing, all that, and he turns to me and goes, "Roll credits," very loud. And as soon as he said it, it went completely silent. So I just yelled, "Roll credits."
Oh wow!
I didn't know. We shouldn't like talk. I guess we shouldn't talk too much about Time Clover.
Yeah.
But my thing is that I'm like, oh fuck, who's gonna be the fucking scary guy? Who's gonna be the fucking scary guy that has this person like chained up in his like weird like scary like kind of rapey basement? You know, who the fuck is this gonna be? And then it's fucking John Goodman. Like, no, fuck. I'm like, that's a fucking whiplash. Like he's like, you're not fucking scary. And then yeah, he is. Like he's a good actor though. He's a really good actor.
10 Cloverfield Lane. Great movie.
Yeah, we should talk about that sometime. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So all right, next movie. Lake Mungo. So we just had a whole podcast about that. So I think we're gonna keep this one very short. This goes into the discussion of should a mockumentary be considered found footage?
All right, docu-horror.
So personally, I think it should, because it does include elements of found footage within it. So that's I mean,
if you want to go like Nick, or if you have more to say, Ryan, I'm like trying to get.
Oh no, that was literally all I had to say.
Oh shit. Okay, what are you?
I think is. I went back and forth about this, but I feel like docu-horror or mockumentary, whatever, what have you, if it is to be considered a found footage, it needs to be its own subgenre of found footage, because of how little the found footage is actually in, how little is actually in the movie itself.
And I think that mockumentary style, it would be considered a subgenre of found footage.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. Goods or bads? I think we're all going to agree. Goods.
Yeah, check it out. Oh, yeah. Hopefully, the listeners checked it out after the last episode, because, gosh, that was a great movie. Yeah.
I think if it was more poorly, like if it was not as well presented, I think we would struggle to say that it was a good found footage horror movie, though. We would probably say it was a documentary, and it saves itself.
So for the one last bit of information before we move on to our next movie, onto our late Egypt, Lake Mungo was shot using over 40 different cameras.
Oh my god.
Cell phone footage.
Right, cell phone mode is one of them.
Isn't that crazy? 40 different cameras.
Wow.
I'd like to really see that. I don't agree. I wonder if they consider the still images. They probably consider each one of those that was taken by a different camera.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When he's taking the photos outside, when he gets caught, like, down by the reservoir, they're probably counting a different camera each time for that. That's not a problem. That's so cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Our next movie is As Above, So Below, directed by John Eric Dowdle, and it was filmed on Red Epic cameras and head cameras. So, and just a little fun fact, PewDiePie was used to market the movie when it was coming out.
Really? I did not know that. How?
Yeah.
How so? Was he just like?
He literally went to the catacombs and.
Whoa. I feel bad.
Another little fun fact: the character George, the actor actually suffers from claustrophobia. So they would have to stop recording at times for him to like calm down.
Oh gosh,
that's almost unethical.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have been talked about. Should have been talked about in the casting. Just saying.
Yeah. So all right.
Yeah.
Nick, what do you think about As Above, So Below?
Yeah, I need to pull up my notes really quick because this was kind of a trip. This movie. I think. First of all, here's my first. I gotta say this. Wait. Harry Potter, Nicholas Flamel, and then it was ... Indiana Jones, because we were looking. That's what we were essentially watching. Put that onto a found footage film, and add Paris, and you got
and add horror elements.
Yes, yeah.
Horror elements. That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Okay. The acting's good. I think the acting is. Oh no!
Really?
Yeah. Wait. Really?
No,
Okay. I think the acting is good by our main two characters, George and Scarlett. No. Hold on. I forget who I put down. You guys really disagree. Wow, this is interesting. Okay.
I think it's acceptable acting.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it was a good ensemble. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The fact okay, there's realism in the acting. I thought George was actually afraid of tunnels, and he was like. But now I know it was not very naturalistic. So I don't know why he was
fuck.
Yeah, his insides were screaming, and that came through to me. I thought that was a powerful performance, but maybe it was too method. But here's the thing. I think the first 45 minutes of the film, I think at that point they're in the cave systems quite a bit. Very claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it in myself. For those who don't know, I am a national park geek, and I want to see all of them before I die.
Cool.
That some of them are caves and caverns, and I did not have a problem going into them, even after watching The Descent. I haven't been in any, but I wouldn't have a problem being in any. Then I watched this film and started doubting because of how claustrophobic I was feeling based on the footage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first 45 minutes. The problem with this film is they try to bring... They combine real... what found footage film does well is giving you the perspective of a person going through this. And it did that really well. But a person would not be dragged by an invisible force into a car that's underground, on fire, and then disappear into the ground. It was just
that moment. It's you know, it's a really. If we drive a Subaru 2005 into the cabin and light it on fire.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. The first 40 minutes when it's focusing on the claustrophobia is so good. Get rid of the first 10 minutes. The 10 to 40 minute range with the claustrophobia done very well. And then it becomes Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I see, that's the problem. I feel like I'm just gonna say it right now. I think it deserves to be in the bads because of its Indiana Jones and all of that stuff. I think it completely ruins what it was going for and what the original goal was.
Yeah, it derails. It totally derails.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
My big thing is that it's all right, so it's I'm gonna watch this film. It's okay, underground, catacombs filled with dead people. Great place to film a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. dealing with claustrophobia, dealing with like, you know, fear of the dark, dealing with, you know, like, oh shit, like we're like stepping on like bones, you know. And then it's like, yeah, found footage will work well here. This is gonna be good. And then like I'm like, and so I'm going into this film. I'm like, yeah, like let's get it, you know. And then like it's like, it's like, yeah, so we're going into the catacombs because I am a professor in alchemy. And then it's like I start to frown a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like to find the philosopher's stone.
Yeah.
And then I start grimacing.
Yeah.
And then like it's like all this other shit keeps stacking up against it. And it's like, no.
Mhm.
You cannot have this much fantastical shit in your realistic horror movie.
And then it's
I'm
just
like,
like Entity.
utter shit. Yes!
Actually, yeah.
And like I don't even know how long it was. It felt very long.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
not a good.
I love when the person was like
Yeah.
dying, and then she was just like, he's like, and, like,
Stone. Yeah.
What a waste, honestly. What a fucking waste. Just imagine a horror movie in the catacombs. Have you guys ever seen, this is like a little bit of such a, but have you ever seen like the YouTube thing, Lost in the Catacombs? There's literally like this video called Lost in the Catacombs.
oh my god.
Yes, and it was famous like a few years ago.
Mhm.
1000% better experience than this movie.
Yeah.
For scariness.
Mhm.
It's like somebody like made like a horror short film, basically.
Mhm.
Well, it might have been like slightly real. You don't know how much like.
Slightly real.
Well, yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like he got spooked by something. Maybe his terror was genuine. I don't know if the
Yeah.
reality of scariness was like.
That's a creepy
What do you want to
video.
into down there? And it's a creepy video. If you have not seen that, Nick, I definitely recommend it.
So
I'm
on to
gonna
our
look it
next
up.
movie, which I'm literally like, we're literally gonna spend 30 seconds on it because I want to talk about it. Unfriended.
Okay.
Does a new thing, decides to do cameras on laptops,
Unique.
but we're
Hmm.
actually not going to use cameras on laptops. We're going to use a GoPro, and make it seem like it's on a laptop. Yeah,
Oh man.
that's Unfriended, and I
Yeah.
think I wouldn't do it justice if I didn't say that YMS, Your Movie Suck, doesn't have the perfect one sentence description of this movie, which is Unfriended is a shitty movie.
Wow.
And it is terrible. I don't think there's much more to say. It is in the bads.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty funny though.
No,
Not really funny.
no comment, really. Yeah, no comment, really. Yeah, this film's not worth anyone's time.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. Just like I don't know what they thought they were going for. You know, not scary. You know.
Mm,
Yeah. To me, found footage has to move. It can't be stationary. You know, at least even with Paranormal Activity, you do have a change of pace with the moving around and then the night cam and the
Mhm.
moving around and the night cam. I think it in a very like bare bones kind of comment.
Sorry.
Found footage needs to move and also be good.
I haven't seen Unfriended since it came out, but I just remember there was the one thing where they're in a Skype call. Well, the entire movie is almost like a Skype call,
Mhm.
and then like it's like, oh my god, she's in the Skype call. Who is that?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, oh my god, they are really playing on some
There's a
weird,
clip.
like weird high school fears. What's up?
There's a clip where they're like, "Oh my god, they're in the Skype call," and then like you just see like the voice go off, and then "Bad Guy" by Billie Eilish just starts playing. I wish I could find it. It was the funniest thing I ever watched.
Oh fucking shit.
I just
Oh, man,
remember
that's
that
funny.
there's someone in this like, Skype call. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh fuck! Cause it's unknown user Billy, dude. That's not.
It's Billy. Oh, that's right.
I can't mute myself.
Oh man, we're
Okay.
done.
Okay, oxygen regained.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck!
So
I'll go to
funny. Okay, we are on to our last film.
Okay.
and I am so excited to talk about it because all of us, while we watched this movie, texted in the group chat at least once. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Or what the fuck? Or variations of that because this film is disturbing.
Yeah.
Above all else. Yeah.
And it is acted so well. Like,
Yes.
very,
Yes.
very believable performances. I'll let you guys take the role with it.
Yeah.
Where to start?
Yeah, my biggest thing is that like really big props to Adrian Toffey, right?
Mhm.
As presenting himself as this very free it's like okay, like this dude is weird. And then it's such a believable thing. But then you're like, oh, he's just like maybe a little developmentally disabled, still lives with his mom when he's like 40 something. Yeah, the whole thing where he's trying to go to I learned that pension is the name for a cheap motel in parts of Eastern Europe. I had to look that up because I was like, why is he going to collect his union? I was so confused. And then my dad's like, well actually, and I'm like, okay. You can be quiet. I was like, no, he watched it with me. He liked it as well. But oh geez. Yeah, it's such a believable movie. I guess it's a slow burn. And it's not for everyone.
Yes.
I don't think it's for everyone. But as much as it's a scary movie and a scary thriller, it's also a pretty profound statement on what it means to be not only an actor and director, but a creator. And also obsession. There's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah.
We could dissect it. I wouldn't really mind like talking like for like like a whole separate podcast about this movie. But
Yeah, we definitely could go on. Yeah, you're right, Bill. We could definitely go on about this in an episode, and maybe we will in the future. That might be in the works.
Definitely will be.
I think to maybe just stick to the found footage aspects.
Yeah.
It's important to note this movie is entirely improvised.
That's crazy.
The main character is also the director of the movie. Adrian Toffey. He's the guy behind the camera, and it's a found footage movie about making a movie.
It's very meta.
It's very meta, and it also his motive for making the movie is to impress an actress that exists today.
Yeah.
And wants her to act in his movie.
Yes. Now, it's very disturbing. Yeah, like we said, not for everybody. It's very much about abduction and obsession, and scary. For very reasonably scary, and we can understand if it's totally uncomfortable to watch. However, the fact that it's all improvised, I think is amazing. It's improvised, and also like all the dangerous situations that happen in the film were all explained. This director, he went and said, okay, this is what's going to happen in the scene. Very much how it plays out in the movie, where he is directing other actresses vaguely and just kind of telling them what to do to go along with it. Obviously, that has more violent implications. But I want to get to some trivia about this movie. I think what a really cool situation is, the movie begins saying, this was dissected from 25 hours of police film found, and blah 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 blah, how found footages sometimes introduce themselves. There was actually 25 hours of footage filmed for this movie.
Yeah.
If a movie as such existed, it would, in a full uncut version, it would be 25 hours long. That is some work on the editor, who is also the same director.
I was just saying it was the director.
yeah, he edited through that 25 hours of footage and made it 80 something minutes,
hmm
which is also like, well done and very committed to the found footage genre. I think really single-handedly confronted it.
Fuck.
Could I add something quickly, Nick, to what you just said?
Right, I am done for now. I have some
So,
quotes from him that both we
yeah.
can talk about in a few minutes.
So I don't want to get into spoilers because I want to do a podcast on it.
Oh.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think we'll try to keep it within the found footage genre. So for that podcast that we do it on, we'll have a lot more stuff to talk about. So you know the laptop that you see in the movie that like when he's playing the music from it, there's
Yes.
that's the laptop that he actually used to edit the movie on.
Oh my gosh.
So it's all like self-contained.
Fun little fact.
Oh god. Something about this movie. Yeah, you know what it is? It's so raw. It's so raw. And if it was all improvised, that is fucking crazy.
I think
that is fucking crazy.
Craziest thing about it is like
shit.
The way it's recorded and everything. It felt like I would go on Instagram, go to someone's Instagram live, and that would be what I saw.
Yeah.
And it felt like that's how all the events were unfolding.
Yeah.
There's oh god. I'll try not to get too spoilery. I remember like there is the thing where oh god, I can't I'm like shackled. Like I'm like I can't talk too much about it. But like just when there's that one scene where it's the first girl.
Okay.
And he's a little worried, and it's at night, and he's worried about the police seeing. And just the fact that that's all improvised, and like obviously like he didn't really. Oh god, I can't.
Yeah, he didn't really do what he does.
He doesn't.
I'm just gonna say.
Right. It's all ethical. Like there's no ethical, as far as I know from our research. There is no ethical violation that happens.
What a mind fuck!
Yeah.
What a mind fuck! Because
the most insane part about that scene is after the deed is done, and he's like, "Oh, a car! Like, let me hide." Like in real life, he had to do that because if someone walked by and saw what he just did, they would be like, "I'm calling the police right now. I'm gonna kill you." Like, oh my god! And just the fact that he looks at the camera and starts laughing, and he's just like, "I did this for you, and this is for you. This is how you would be in my movie." It's like holy shit, and like that part is literally when I texted you guys. Oh my god! He just did that. Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering because there is a lot of like, Brian, you've heard to this like one scene, you'll know it. I feel like there was a lot of those scenes where it could have been. I was like, was it this one or was it this one or oh shit, was it this one?
Yeah.
It actually makes some parts of the movie a little funny because knowing that it's all improv, it actually makes some parts of the movie really funny.
It was
the second,
okay, yeah.
I was so mad that I was laughing at him at parts.
Yeah, there was. I mean, I know for me it was the second girl when she first comes and he's like roasting her.
Yes, that's funny.
And like that's so funny. And like she's just like, I think we should. And like, it's all improv and like that's so funny. Yeah.
And then he burns her. He does like there's like a burn. Remember the woman who's coming off the bus? And now the actors all together. Okay, that was one part I genuinely laughed because it was actually supposed to be comedic because he was just like messing around. Like it was a total like something you would say in a real conversation. And it once again, like you said, it was Instagram Live, and suddenly the audience was laughing, and that the realistic impact of this movie because they successfully improv were astounding and horrifying.
Yeah, the fact
and go on, Bill.
So the fact that some of it is unscripted is fucking uncanny.
The
Yeah,
fact
that's all I gotta say.
the fact that he's doing like he's cracking zingers in these disturbing moments and I'm laughing says something. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like the one that I automatically think of is I'll just say the line with no context. When he's like, "This bitch just tried to escape."
I really laughed. I was like, he's like,
That part had me crying, and it was the part where he's just like it cuts to him walking down the street, and he's like, "I hate boys and dogs. They're all the same."
I think it was like I want to get to this like a part with the knife when he's like it's like Psycho, and like she's like I don't know, like something about that.
Yeah.
Fuck, like mad genius, really.
Oh
That's
my-
so.
there's
It is
so
a bit
many
bad
moments
genius.
like
And
that.
I know this isn't talked about much, but you could easily diagnosing that character. He's first of all, Adrian Trophy was very much I think he had an interview with Escapist magazine where I pulled a lot of these quotes from. But he mentioned how he was very interested in the psychological self and how we are as psychological beings are affected by our outside surroundings, and he used that psychological criteria and then created this character who is suffering from a mental illness. And it's not clear. I mean, it's clear, but it's not stated.
Yes.
But it would be something. It would be antisocial personality disorder. He doesn't have an acceptance of norms. Yada yada. You know, it doesn't have acceptance of norms. Doesn't understand facial reaction or gestures. What's respectful and what's not. What's rational and what's not. Like the rationale is completely gone. The fact that he's able to capture that and make it look like someone who is suffering like this has control of an iPhone or like a video camera in the modern day, who's referring to a modern day actress, is phenomenal. It really just is well done. I think I would put it as the best found footage film. What do you guys think?
That's tough. Oh god, that's tough. I think my thing is that it is so not a movie for everyone.
Yes.
It's so not a movie for everyone. It's such a culty kind of film. I'm glad we all agree on it though. I'm glad we all agree on it. I was really nervous because I was like, oh shit, like I really like that. Like, you know, I thought it was a really good film. But I could like see I'm not sorry. Just like knowing it's all improv. I would say there is probably no better effective use of found footage than this movie. For me. Just because it literally feels like, I don't know if you guys know the Bjork stalker. You guys know the singer Bjork, and she had the stalker, and he filmed himself a lot. It like you know, it's obviously more polished than that kind of like, you know, gonzo stuff, but the obsession and then oh geez, and like the way he talks about sacrifice, and like you're not sure when he's acting and when he's not, and then it turns out that he's sort of acting the entire time and sort of not acting the entire time. Oh man, it's heebie-jeebies. It is for me, like, would not be effective at all in any capacity without the use of found footage.
Yeah, I would agree. I think in my review that will be up by the time. I say like my biggest with the movie is it's not going to appeal to everybody, and I think that this is a movie for people who love horror. If you're not a big fan of horror, you don't really watch the genre and stuff, you would absolutely hate this movie.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, I feel like that brings it down a little bit, because I think some of the best horror movies can be like anyone could watch this and will enjoy it. So like,
That's
as
fair.
just a very random, out of the air example, like a Christmas horror movie, Better Watch Out. Weird, kind of like, you know, kind of stuff happening like that, but anyone could watch it and like enjoy it.
Whiplash. Yeah.
So here's something. Bill, you were worried that that we wouldn't like it. I didn't like the movie. I have to say that. However, that doesn't mean I didn't think I do think it was a great movie though. It was very conflicting. But I didn't like it because it felt real.
Mm-hmm.
But that means it was a really good movie. It means it was incredible. And no, in fact, it was too credible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a good movie. Yeah.
I would love.
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna cut you off, Nick, because
Go ahead.
I really want to do a podcast on this. So I want content for that podcast if we do
Right.
that.
Yes,
So
you're
I
right.
would
Yeah, we
really
do
love
need
to save
we will save.
some stuff about it. So I think we're all gonna agree that it deserves to be in goods.
Yes.
Yes. Not for everyone. Not for everyone. But
It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And like I've told
Yeah.
people, like I feel like I wouldn't watch this movie with anyone. This would be like I would watch it by myself.
I watched it. I watched it with my dad. He was like, we got like times like because like he just falls asleep during movies. But like it was like one of those things. Like the moment that he was asleep was like the most effective moments for me. And oh god. Like I don't know. Yeah.
I'm cutting you off, Bill. I'm cutting you off.
I have a quote from Adrian Topy about found footage.
Okay.
And I think it really sums up something that we were really trying to get at
Mhm.
tonight.
He says found footage is a subgenre, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He says Blair Witch is a good movie.
Well, he does. It says, here's the
dude.
first quote. It was inspired by 3 found footage masterpieces: The Blair Witch Project, Exhibit A, and Zero Day. Plus, Anne, I'm not going to give away what Anne, but her great acting, well, okay, I am going to give this away, actually. So Exhibit A and Zero Day, plus Anne Hathaway's great acting performance in Les Miserables, which inspired me to choose her as my character's obsession in Be My Cat. But I am sure there were other influences from my childhood and teenage years, where I saw Psycho and Carrie. It showed that he combined found footage influences and also non-horror influences that were classics.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what made a really great found footage movie. Now, he goes on and somebody asked him, what is an effective found footage movie? What does it have to entail? And he said, a found footage film is fueled by the goal of the character who films everything. Only the actor with that character's personality and the goal assumed decide what to do with the camera. If a found footage film looks directed, everything is ruined.
Yeah. Me speaking facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's obvious in a lot of the ones that we decided were good found footage films. Wreck, I think, but we were talking about Wreck, and I think it was very obvious with Wreck as well. The person who was recording had a purpose for doing everything. And it didn't look like it was because it was directed. It looked like it was because that's how they were reacting to the events going on, outside of them.
I do have the question, though. Do you think this film would have been different if it wasn't based off of Anne Hathaway and it was based off of Halle Berry as Catwoman?
I had the same question in my mind.
Yeah, why Hathaway? Yeah, I mean, I'm whatever with Anne. I think she's okay. I think she's good. Like
She's a good actress, but I asked myself the same question: what if it was a fake actress? Would have been just as effective, and that I'm not sure of.
No,
but I feel like I don't think it would have been. But I think that's more of a discussion for when we focus on the movie.
I'm gonna ask him
Okay.
if we could get him on the podcast why it wasn't Be My Halle for Halle Berry, who played Catwoman in 2000.
Fucking if we can get him on here, holy crap, mind blown.
Yeah, or
I have so
Jennifer
many.
Lopez. Make a film for Jennifer Lopez. Be My Cat, a film for Jennifer.
Here's my question. Here's my question for you guys. If you were Adrian, and you were making your film about and you were trying to make a film to convince a famous actress to come and be in your movie in Romania, who would you choose? I have an answer.
So
for
mine
this.
would be Be My Single Lady, a film for Beyonce.
Nice. Holy shit, fire.
I think we should specify that.
like hot fire.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh man.
Fuck heavy.
Oh man.
Be My Mary Jane, a film for Zendaya.
Holy
Zendaya.
shit.
Oh man. I don't know.
All right,
I don't know.
What about you, Nick?
I think I'd like to preface that we would not do the acts in the movie to convince them.
Yeah.
Make your own
Oh my
movie.
No, this is purely fun. This is fun.
Yeah.
What I think. Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I really don't know.
We can come back to you. We can
Yeah,
come back
come back to me, Bill. Who would you do?
I right away. Be My Carrie, Chloe Grace Moretz. And I gotta say, Chloe, if you're reading this right now, you are definitely not a superior Carrie to freaking. Oh God, what's her name? The original Carrie. No, what is this called?
Spacek.
Sissy Spacek. I'm sorry. Like, Sissy Spacek just is Carrie. But holy crap. I could make a better Carrie movie with you. I'm pretty convinced of that. Because fucking hot garbage. I'm rambling. This is my love letter to Chloe Grace Moretz. Okay. Alright, Nick, you had your 30 seconds to think.
Okay. I think I would do. This is kind of crazy. I have two, and I think they're both going to come out of the blue. Yeah. So it would be, I don't know. It would be a film for Dakota, as in Dakota Fanning.
Okay. Great. High octane choice.
Great
That's a good
actress.
choice.
Great
Great
actress.
actress. Beautiful.
It would be like. Oh man, she's in songs. I could be like, be my alien.
I'm just kidding. Continue. Wait,
No, it could be My Sign, a film for Dakota Fanning.
Sign. Yes, that would be great. That's great. Yeah.
We're growing.
Yeah.
What's your second? So Dakota declined. What's your second?
Yeah.
Dakota said, "Do not put my name in your movie, or I will sue."
And then I think I'd want to do I think it would be My Stranger, a film for Natalie Dyer, who plays Nancy in Stranger Things.
Oh,
Nice.
Holy shit. Okay, I gotta dedicate an episode to Nancy.
Oh.
And I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm just gonna pause. Right. That's like a stop order.
So, for everyone to know, the final list for goods, we have The Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, Wreck, Cloverfield, Lake Mungo, and Be My Cat, a film for Anne. In terms of bads, we have Cannibal Holocaust, The Last Broadcast, As Above, So Below, Unfriended. And I would like to quickly mention that all of our middle, 2000s ones are all in the goods.
You know what it was? Golden Age.
Yeah,
Are we out of the age of is Be My Cat a capstone? Is it the end of an era?
No, well, probably in terms of good ones.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so-
I think there hasn't been a lot of interest in found footage recently.
Yeah, I'd
Maybe
agree.
we should have talked about that
Besides
more.
Paranormal Activity 7 on the horizon.
Holy shit. My
Yeah.
brain aneurysm is fucking
So-
starting up. I cannot watch that shit.
So on that note, I would like to thank everyone for listening to the podcast. I know this was a long one, but we had a lot of fun filming it. We had a lot of fun watching all these movies. Be on the lookout for the next podcast that will be with Sam from Ruminant Music. Thank you, of course, to Bill and Nick for, of course, being host of this show. And thank you to Skippy for doing all that he does in terms of audio and editing and everything. We really appreciate him. And we have a new shout out that I would like to say thank you to Tina for doing promoting now for the podcast.
Hmm.
Tina! Thank you,
Tina.
Yeah.
How many witty things? What's it? She's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, remember, don't talk to strangers. Bye, everyone.
Oh. See ya.
You guys.
All right. So I
Whew,
gotta
we
dip.
did it.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Brian.
Yeah, no
Go.
problem. No problem, buddy. Yeah, I know you're so late. Are you gonna watch it? You're gonna go over to somebody's house and watch a movie right now?
Hell fucking yeah, horror time.